This morning on the investigation here in Pennsylvania and nationally after the attempted assassination of former President Donald J. Trump, who was speaking to that huge crowd of supporters at a rally in Butler County. FBI considering it now an act of domestic terrorism. In just a moment, I will get to the Butler County Sheriff Michael Slupe, who is confirming that an armed municipal officer with Butler Township, Pennsylvania, did encounter the shooter, who's now dead, last name Crooks, Thomas Matthew Crooks, before Crooks was able to get off shots from that rooftop building. So many questions swirling and so much finger blaming back and forth. We're hearing also from the family of the only innocent victim killed, Corey Compatour, firefighter from Sarver, Pennsylvania, 2 daughters, husband, avid huge Trump supporter, was delighted to be there, lived about 12 miles from where this rally was taking place and was just thrilled, had recently celebrated his 50th birthday. His daughter, Allison, oh my goodness, just putting out on social media a statement about her dad and that he died a hero. And we need to honor him as a hero. President Trump putting out that he does intend to attend the funeral of this real-life hero who is shielding his family from this scumbag, coward, killer's bullets. We also know more about the 2 men critically injured in the shooting. 57-year-old David Dutch, he's from New Kensington, Pennsylvania, and also 74-year-old James Copenhaver of Moon Township. So both of these gentlemen, we heard they were in critical condition over the weekend. We're told now their conditions have been stabilized. And so even though critically injured, it appears that although they have a long road to recovery, that they will survive the shooting, the assassination attempt that took down other innocents. And so also Pennsylvania State Police are confirming everything I'm saying as well. We know that Representative Ronnie Jackson, Republican from Texas, saying on Saturday on X that his nephew was among those with minor injuries, suffered a graze wound to his neck, was bleeding badly, but was recovering fine, so that that's non-life threatening, obviously. But I know that Congressman Jackson had spoken out, former Trump doctor, obviously, had spoken out over the weekend to Fox and others that a bullet had grazed his nephew's neck. He was sitting right behind Trump. And then I know Dave McCormick, Republican and senator running for PA senator on the Republican side, he was right there too, was about to be introduced. So as far as Allison, the daughter of our hero, former fire chief, Allison speaking in her post, she said, "The media will not tell you that my dad died a real-life superhero. They're not going to tell you how quickly he threw my mom and I to the ground. They're not going to tell you he shielded my body from that bullet that came to us." It's just a heart-wrenching, emotional post, and we'll talk about that. So many prayers. I do want to point to the fact that Trump, it was pretty amazing as, a section of his ear blown off. You can't even imagine this, how quickly he reacted. I do want to, minutes away, and I hope that we're on YouTube live, as we've been all morning, that we continue live on the YouTube feed, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. But we're going to air in a moment, as I had sent my guys, that raw YouTube video that I had sent that shows you, and we want to just take a moment and think about what happened, and I want to take you through this. It's important to think about what happened here and the grave nature of it. A deadly shooting. This investigation, there is fallout certainly this morning. There are already reports that Kim Cheadle, that they're asking for her. There are calls for his or her resignation, head of Secret Service. But I want to get to this, as there's a high-profile fundraiser set up by the Trump team, already raising, and it's closing in on $3 million for not just the real-life superhero, as Chief, Corey Compatour, his daughter Allison calls him, $3 million for all of those injured, but especially the fire chief. Let's just play this if we can, Jim Kelly and Henry Mashett. This is And it goes on for a couple of minutes here. Many people playing the snippets of it. But if you're watching in particular on YouTube, and I'm going to get to everything. We have a report. This is a report on the ground from Butler. I like to go to local news because you're going to see and hear more. You're going to hear from the chief. You're going to hear from the sheriff. You're going to hear from local people what they saw and the sights and the sounds from the eyewitnesses who actually saw somebody on the roof. You hear them as they say, there's a guy with a gun on the roof. Hey, officer. So you're going to hear about all of this. It's incredible. But I just want to, let's play this if we can. And I want to do a play-by-play so that you can see and hear what happened. This is the actual raw video.
And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened. Oh.
So if you can just pause it for a moment. So you hear pop, pop, pop. You see, and this is about 6:15-ish. So you see President Trump puts his hand to his right ear. You see him with his reflexes. He quickly goes down. He quickly ducks and goes down. What we don't see behind that podium is that you have all these Secret Service agents piling upon him. And that's when his shoes are knocked off his feet and he's holding his ear at this point. You hear the crowd, you hear the screams, and you're hearing a lot of audio, I know, but what you're seeing visually as people are trying to figure this out, you see many people looking up to the area where the gunfire came from, people looking directly to where that shooter is. And after those shots are fired, 8 in total, because he actually pulled the trigger 4 times, and we now know that it was a fast trigger advice from that, semi-automatic, right? That when each time you pull, so each of the 4 times you pull, you get off 2 bullets. So 8 bullets in all. Now let's continue.
Moving his there. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move.
Secret Service.
Go.
Hawkeye's here.
Code words.
We ready?
They're still trying to get him off the stage.
We good. Shooters down.
You'll hear Trump say, wait.
Let's move.
Listen for it.
Come on.
Let me get my shoes.
Let me get my shoes. President Trump.
Hold that in your head. Bloody.
So we got to move to the bus.
Secret Service. Mr. Trump, we've got to move.
Watch out.
You hear it? Wait. Don't lower the volume. Wait. Stop it, rewind it, and play that part again. We want to hear President Trump. This is a critical moment.
Watch out.
You hear him? Now listen. So let me just stop it, if you will. I just want you to understand what happened there. He's just been shot and now realizes the moment, hears the crowd and the concerns and even shrieks. And in the midst of this, as they're saying, sir, gotta move. He has the presence of mind to wait. And then you see him fist up and you can read his lips clearly. Fight. And now The crowd rises. Nobody's talking about the crowd numbers. Huge packed event, huge crowd. USA. When I saw this, I don't know about you, I burst. I just cried. I prayed. This is a moment in American history when we see true leadership. First, thank God he survived this. And not because of incredible security or bravery by any of those whose job it is to keep him secure, but because he was showing a chart, by the way, about the level of illegal immigration, in our country and the impact of it. And he turns in this moment, and the latest word is maybe an eighth or a fourth of an inch. I mean, we're hearing about centimeters away from a bullet blowing his brains out. I mean, that's by all accounts from these experts. But to me, when you hear him say, wait, and I know that there are some those in law enforcement, and some of you in law enforcement have said, you know what, if you're doing your job, you don't wait. That it only took 4 seconds back in the day during the Reagan assassination attempt. They got Reagan off and away in 4 seconds. You heard how long that took to get him off that stage and out of vulnerability. But for this moment, you talk about this, you don't know. You and I, we can never say what we would do in that moment when you know that you have just faced death. You have faced that moment of death, and you have literally dodged a bullet. Many people perhaps would duck, would cry, would duck behind those agents. But this is an example of the courage of a man who entered into the life of a public servant running for office, not to get rich, not to be one of these career politicians or a partisan hack, somebody who was living his best life as a billionaire, living the American dream beyond any of our dreams. We cannot even comprehend what it would be like to be a billionaire multiple times over. Beautiful family, beautiful children, gorgeous grandkiddies, everybody's healthy, everybody's well, travel, homes, the life that they live and the life he was living. And now to rerun for office, think about it, rerun for office now. Being persecuted at a level we cannot imagine. And now in this moment, in the face of death, the New York Times photographer capturing a bullet, and you can see that bullet midair. It's incredible photography. Headed straight for his head, but for his turn of his head, that bullet slices off a piece of his ear, and he is spared. It's an incredible moment in our United States history. He has the presence of mind to think of the people. Wait. And then you see him fight. And his comment of fight, and then the crowd's reaction, USA, because they know what he's saying, what to fight for this country, to make America great again. The inspiration, it's Reagan-esque. And that's what you're going to see as the Republican National Convention now is kicking off with our own Rich Zeoli, by the way, kicking off the Pennsylvania delegates group this morning. He's one of the keynote speakers there, the top speakers this morning. And Rich had told me this morning he'll try to call in just if he can to give us an update. So we're waiting and hoping for his live update, just the mood and the sentiment. So emotional, right? We're also hearing from the sheriff, and let if we can tee this up. This is a local report of a Butler County Sheriff, Michael Slupe, confirming that an armed municipal officer with Butler Township did indeed encounter the shooter, Tom Crooks, before the wannabe assassin was able to fire those shots from the rooftop building outside the perimeter of the Trump rally. This is KDKA's TV's Jennifer Barrasso as her live report. Here is that KDKA local TV report. Listen in.
Butler County Sheriff was at the Trump rally. He wasn't aware of any potential threats, but he confirms that a Butler Township officer encountered shooter Thomas Crooks on the roof, but he didn't fire. Tonight, new details in the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Butler County Sheriff Michael Slupe confirms to me an armed municipal officer with Butler Township encountered shooter Thomas Crooks before he fired shots from a rooftop building outside of the perimeter of the rally.
All I know is the officer had both hands up on the roof to get up onto the roof, never made it because the shooter had turned towards the officer, and rightfully and smartfully, the officer let go.
Sheriff Slupe says before the shooting, this officer and others were previously alerted to a suspicious person and began searching for him right away. The sheriff tells me this officer was hoisted by another officer to the roof of the building where the shooter had taken a position. The shooter, Crooks, focused his rifle toward the officer, who let go and fell off the roof. Then the 20-year-old began firing into the crowd. Trump says he was grazed by a bullet. One bystander was killed, 2 others injured. Sniper fire killed Crooks, authorities say.
Do you think that police officer did the right thing? He was.
I'd have done the same thing. Absolutely. I mean, people think officers are Superman. Like, you hold on to the roof with one hand while you're hanging on for dear life and pull a gun out of your... It doesn't work that way.
So was he equipped with a
firearm? Absolutely he was. He was well equipped. Absolutely.
Were you able to talk to him?
No.
Were you consulted in terms of why didn't he shoot?
No, not at all. No, not my concern.
As the FBI investigation continues, questions now on what could have been prevented. Not having sufficient manpower on that rooftop, or at least preventing access to it.
Were you made aware, Sheriff, of any potential threat? Was this guy on the radar?
No threats we were made aware of, and we had no idea about this guy.
Would you agree that this was a failure?
Yes.
Could you expound upon that just a little?
I don't want to say, well, this and that, when I don't know. And again, let's be fair. Let's let the investigation take its course, and we're all going to learn something from this.
So that is the Butler County Sheriff, Michael Slupe. He is confirming all of this. And do you agree with his assessment that if somebody is on a ladder and is looking to see what's going on, but could not have possibly pulled out his firearm from his holster and gotten off a shot, do you agree with that assessment? Do you agree with the Butler County Sheriff, who's very plainly, very bluntly speaking about this and definitely calling out Secret Service and others, saying this was not the responsibility of that officer, who certainly had a chance if he would have tried? But did he fall? That's the question this morning. Was he startled and then he actually fell because he pushed back and was stunned at what he saw? What exactly happened? Because I will say this, as far as the Butler County Sheriff there, this is not it's hearsay. The Butler County Sheriff has personally not been able to interview that officer. So he's getting it from one of his officers. But do you agree with the sheriff's assessment? What do you think? 855-839-1210. There's so much going on this morning, and we'll get right to it and get to your calls. This is the Dawn Stensland Show. Be right back.
Don't count on summer heat to melt away those extra pounds. That doesn't work. But here's something that does work, and that's NJ Diet. For over a decade, NJ Diet has helped thousands of people lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. That's nearly twice as fast as weight loss injections and without any of those nasty side effects. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements to get you to shed that fat quickly. Then NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. No shots, no prepackaged meals, and no surgery. NJ Diet is fully supervised every step of the way to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations close by are available from anywhere with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com. Lose the weight for good.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Investigators work to find a motive behind 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks' assassination attempt on Donald Trump at Saturday's rally in Butler, PA. President Biden urges Americans to reject political violence in favor of civil dialogue. Activists in Milwaukee outside the GOP convention plan to carry on their protests despite the shooting.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-250-7807. 800-250-7807. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-250-7807.
This summer, take a trip down memory lane with me and hear from the legends of baseball. I'm Brett Boone from the Brett Boone Podcast. Every week I have a conversation with one of baseball's greats to talk about the glory days and reflect on today's game. Randy Johnson, Pete Rose, Deion Sanders, Jay Buhner, Albert Bell, and Goose Gossage, they've all shared their wisdom with stories of their playing days. To hear who's next, follow and listen to the Brett Boone Podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Virtua Health, real patients, real doctors, real complex cases. Take one.
Open heart surgery, tear in my aorta.
The most complex cases come to us at Virtua Health.
I'm sure I wouldn't have been here without you.
Being a 45-year-old, not being able to walk up one flight of stairs, I had no idea I was in heart failure.
Virtua is a premier heart failure center in South Jersey.
They changed my life. It's truly a blessing.
Want to follow our stories? Go to Virtua.org. Virtua Health, here for good.
Yo, Roy is Ford. What? We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT.
Major breaking news that happened within the past 20 minutes or so. Federal District Judge Eileen Cannon has fully dismissed the classified documents case against Donald J. Trump. This is a ruling that has just come down. Major breaking news. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are live. We are local. Dawn Stensland here reporting a major story for you as Judge Cannon says the appointment of special counsel Jack Smith violated the Constitution of the United States of America. In the end, she wrote, "It seems the executive's growing comfort in appointing regulatory special counsels in the more recent era has followed an ad hoc pattern with little judicial scrutiny." This is from Judge Cannon. This is just coming down. It is, by all accounts, this is a game changer. It's by some accounts they're calling it earth-shattering to Democrats. This is a blow to Joe Biden, to Democrats, to the persecution efforts of President Trump. And, of course, so-called mainstream media immediately reporting, oh, this judge was appointed by Trump. You know what? She is quoting the Constitution, and So this is a major ruling that is just coming down. We want to talk about it. I want to take your calls, though, as to your reaction. I thought you may have a reaction to what is going on, the latest. And like I say, there's so much breaking and developing, and we're going to get to all of it. But your calls, Rob in the Northeast in Philadelphia. Hey, Rob, good morning.
Good morning, Dawn. Beautiful day. Well, we hope beautiful to continue.
Yes.
I wanted to comment on the phone call you just got done with. I believe the captain you were speaking with, according to him, and I know it's secondhand, it sounded, and this is what I thought I heard last night from other people, like that police officer was being pushed up, getting a boost from another officer, no ladder involved. So he was trying to pull himself up like a chin-up or a pull-up kind of way. So he didn't have a ladder. And my wife thought that the shooter, people were saying that he was on a ladder, but I never heard anything about a ladder.
If you could see on YouTube, and I apologize, we had a little technical glitch, so you were not seeing it visually. Obviously, we were playing it for you. I appreciate you, Rob. And we have differing accounts, and that's the problem with getting something secondhand, even though this is the sheriff of Butler County. See,
he didn't talk with the guy yet. He really should be saying, having it firsthand, like you asked him.
But I think that what he was defending, because people were trying to throw his department under the bus, and I think his overall assessment was that when you have somebody, whether they're essentially he's grabbing onto the side in a makeshift manner to investigate, but overall, I believe what I infer from him is, I want to get to other calls. Thank you, Rob. I want to get to Ann in Springfield next. Thank you so much. God bless. I just want to. I just want to say this: that essentially what the Butler County Sheriff is saying is that this was a failure overall, right? Let's get to Ann really quick. Just Ann, I'm down to just a few seconds here. Good morning.
Sure.
Hey.
Thanks. Thank you. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to the judge for upholding the Constitution. She did the right thing. But on the shooter and the police officer involved and having to let go at the roof, I think you shouldn't be too rough on that guy because he probably delayed that shooter just long enough to save Trump's life, because Trump turned his head in an instant, and that's all it needed. That's all the officer needed to provide for that shooter to make a miss. So I think you ought to, don't be too rough on him. And the third thing, the last words out of the commentator at the end of the Washington interview was pray for democracy. It wasn't pray for Trump. It wasn't pray for the victims.
Yeah.
So, I think some of the commentary, even right at the end of that evening of crisis, was horrible.
Well,
so thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you, Ann.
Bye-bye.
We've got Sergeant Betsy Brantner-Smith on the other side, so I've got a scooch. I'll let you, of course, I'm going to go into the media. And my husband, Larry Menti, was up early that morning and was putting out, and we were so furious over and disappointed in a lot of the media coverage. And I think that's part of the reason you're seeing Mika and Joe on MSNBC. They've been canceled by their own network this morning. And I wonder about the ramifications. Is this the beginning of the end of the so-called far left? They went way too far. And now they're going to face the music. All right. We've got so much more developing. Stay right here. Be right back.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Inflation fears started in 2021. The warning signs were everywhere. But Senator Bob Casey ignored the warnings and sided with the liberals in Washington, voting for trillions in reckless, wasteful spending. And all that reckless spending made inflation worse, driving up prices on almost everything you buy. Now, Pennsylvania families are paying the price for Senator Casey's reckless spending. Our state's been hit the hardest by higher prices. With Senator Casey's reckless spending, grocery prices are up 25%. Rent, it's up 21%. And electricity's up 29%. Senator Casey helped create this mess. And now, Pennsylvania families are struggling to make ends meet. Call Senator Casey at 202-224-6324. Tell him to support S575, the Fight Inflation Through Balanced Budgets Act, and fight against inflationary government spending. Paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering to qualified buyers a maximum discount of $13,176. This offer is good on all 2024 XC90s in stock. $13,176. Plus, the Cherry Hill Volvo 2024 model year sell down. Pricing and attention to detail here is not to be missed. Volvo should be on your shopping list now. This is the time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Many in law enforcement, the law enforcement community, as well as military veterans, are calling foul as far as a security failure, as they call it, after the assassination attempt at former President Donald J. Trump, who did not take a minute off, still recovering with a bandaged ear, but they will kick off the Republican National Convention, doing so this morning. Let's welcome in the National Police Association's own Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith. Thank you. Good morning. And your take on all of this that has happened over the weekend.
Oh, Don, this is historic. This is, we watched it live in my pastor's office because we were walking into Saturday church. And a couple of things that really speak out. First of all, the failure of leadership that we are seeing from some in the federal government. Finally, the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, came out with a written statement today. And I wish, instead of doing a written statement, or in addition to, I wish she would stand before the cameras, talk about what happened, talk about the successes, because there were successes, talk about the failures, and then talk about the investigation. And I know that there is so much that she cannot reveal right now, but the American public deserves information and they deserve transparency, and I'm not seeing a lot of that. That's first. The second is this narrative I'm seeing in so many outlets, this cowardice narrative that a local police officer confronted the shooter on the rooftop, but ducked back down. That's all nonsense. We now know what happened. That police officer was on the back of another police officer trying to see what was going on in that rooftop because there was no other way. And when he saw the shooter, he literally fell back off of the back of the other officer and then alerted authorities. So this blaming local law enforcement by the media, and now we're hearing it from the Secret Service spokesman, we find that very frustrating.
Yeah, and I just aired the Butler County Sheriff, and he was, even though it was a local report we aired, and he wrongfully said it was a ladder, but his overall theme was that he backed up that officer because he's trying to, lift himself up. And, we even had a caller saying, and I think the general consensus after you hear the story is what you just said, that he probably, by climbing up there to investigate, and even though he fell back, he kind of put the shooter, the wannabe assassin, kind of caught him off guard and probably threw off the shot enough to save President Trump's life.
You are absolutely right about this. He, by this officer and, these two officers trying to get up there to see what was going on, obviously, and I think we're going to find this to be true, that hurried the shooter along. And unfortunately, our retired police chief lost his life. But threw the shot off of President Trump just enough. Look, I've been in these, details. Lots of local law enforcement is always involved in these presidential and vice presidential and campaign details. The Secret Service is where the buck stops, and for the spokesman of the Secret Service, who's had issues in the past, for him to come out and try to put the blame on local law enforcement, frankly, is unconscionable. And that's why I'd like to see leadership step up and get before reporters, get before the cameras, get before the public.
And the conversation about, DEI, and there were many criticizing not just Kim Cheadle, but as well the Secret Service woman who you see and clearly has such a heart, the heart of a lion, as she's becoming, with her fellow Secret Service officers, a human shield to try to shield Trump. But I mean, Betsy, you're somebody, I know you started as a police dispatcher when you were just 17 and rose obviously through the ranks. You've worked in local law enforcement, now at the National, Police Association. But you're a woman who knows what it's like to face criticism of women being in jobs that are traditionally men's. So what do you make of all of the chatter about women in law enforcement, and in particular the woman who we've seen with her hair pulled back right there front and center? And I know President Trump went out and praised her and her colleagues, but just want to get your take on this one. I figured you'd have a strong opinion.
Oh, yeah. I was hired as a police officer in 1980, not because I was a woman, but in spite of it. This was at a time when, they didn't really want women in law enforcement in the Chicago metro area. And but here's the thing. I've looked at all these tapes over and over and over again, watched the agents, and that female agent, who I have been told has been with President Trump for quite a while. I thought she did an outstanding job, and one of the things I love about her is that she saved his hat, his "Make America Great Again" hat, and people saw her, oh, why is she putting her sunglasses back on? That's a habitual response. And then I think when we saw them get him into the armored vehicle, you saw a couple of other female agents. One with kind of a swinging ponytail and this and that, which I train my students, get rid of the ponytails. But people are quick to jump in and say, wow, women shouldn't be doing this job. Look, this is the Secret Service. These are not Navy SEALs. But we have to make sure, because Kim Cheadle has been very vocal about her DEI policies. And, of course, that's the entire Biden administration. We should not hire police officers based on gender, based on race, or any of the other DEI criteria. I detest DEI. We need to hire people based on their ability to do the job. But, from what I saw yesterday, you saw a couple of the women a little bit panic there. One had some difficulty reholstering her weapon. But I don't want to use that to condemn the entire Secret Service or condemn women in law enforcement, because that's wholly inappropriate.
And so, what's your take on all the reports and the questions and we've by now seen them, all the social media posts of people, minutes that you can hear Trump speaking in the background, and these are people who are on the grassy area, so they're not right up there in the stands, and you clearly see it. I reposted some of those on social media, but I mean, the one guy, he's got, he's focusing, and you can clearly see somebody on the roof kind of laying on his belly. Clearly you can see the firearm. And then you see the guy panning around, you hear Trump in the background, you hear a woman's voice saying he's got a gun, and then officer, they're obviously the ones who flagged down those two cops that you referred to that then went and investigated because they could see it once, the people were pointing it out. But a lot of people saying, well, this went on for minutes, and what about the communications on scene?
Well, there you go. And that's something that again, Kim Cheadle needs to come out and be forthcoming about. Was there communication between those agents just off the stage, surrounding President Trump? You don't see them until something happens. Were they able to communicate with those local law enforcement officers on the ground? And that's one of the issues you always have with these multi-agency operations like this. And I know on TV everybody's on the same radio channel. Yeah. That's not the case in real life. So we don't know what kind of communication was available, because the minute that anyone was aware that there's somebody up on the roof, and frankly, that should have been seen from the other rooftop positions, and it should have been seen from the air, whether they were using drones, air support, whatever. But Trump should have been taken off the stage. That's the protocol. And
because people are pointing to the fact that Reagan was 4 seconds, and that was back in the day. So there is this question of, because you hear them and they're saying, let's go, let's go. And then there's something going on. I know he wants to put his shoes on, but it seems like when you watch it, I know it's only seconds, it feels like an eternity. As, if God forbid there had been a second shooter, the more people, including those Secret Service agents, could have been shot.
Well, and understand, they are trained to get shot. I was a cop for 29 years. Yeah. I spent all those 29 years training not to get shot. Yeah. The Secret Service, the ones who do executive protection, are trained to get shot, to take the bullet literally for the protectee. And that's exactly what you saw them doing. In fact, I think you saw the agents who even raised their arms up.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that we have to admire and understand about Donald Trump is that he's not exactly cooperating with them just dragging him off the stage. First, A, he wanted his shoes, and B, he wanted to let people know that he was okay. And I viewed that, when I looked at that, I thought, what a selfless man. Yeah. I think most people, especially politicians, would just be curling up in a ball and expecting the Secret Service to drag them into the armored vehicle. What does Donald Trump do? Wait.
Yeah.
And then gives us all that signal that, hey, I'm okay and we need to fight on. You've got to look at, and the Secret Service, his agents know him. Mm-hmm. They know his personality. And so, they weren't just able to just drag him off the stage. Yeah. And now we have these iconic photos and this historic photos of what happened. Yes. But I'm sure, and people need to understand too, that these protectees, they go through training as well. He knows what's supposed to happen when he gets shot. But I think you're going to see some additional discussion, some additional training, and hopefully some additional resources directed at President Trump.
Yes, hopefully. I know that that's their calls, bipartisan calls this morning, and the House lawmakers, they want a full, their own full investigation, but they're calling for immediate extra service, Secret Service protection, not just for Trump, but also for RFK Jr. and for Biden.
Oh, absolutely. But remember, the J6 committee and multiple legislators have been demanding that Trump's Secret Service protection be taken away.
Yes.
And so they, and we've got to, I know we've been talking all morning about it for the whole weekend about political rhetoric and stuff, but people really need to understand that when you continue, you spend years calling someone a fascist and a Nazi, and you tell people every day that if this man gets elected, we're going to lose our democracy, the country is going to fail, this and that. At some point, unhinged people like this young man are going to take matters into their own hand. They're going to take the war to what they perceive to be the enemy, and in this case, it was Donald Trump.
Amen. Betsy Brantner Smith, where can people find you and support the National Police Association?
Visit our website at nationalpolice.org. We are a charity that helps law enforcement and the people who support us. Go to nationalpolice.org, hit that donate button, and sign up for our newsletter. And because we have the most amazing writers, and follow us on social media, on all social media platforms.
Thank you so much, Betsy. Take care and Godspeed.
Thank you, Don. Good to talk to you.
Up next, we'll talk about a local official who has now resigned after posting on social media that she wished Trump had been killed. She's now calling it dark humor, but let's have that conversation, an online post. The headline is that she has finally resigned, and that's a local story that's making national headlines. We'll talk about it, the latest developments, your reaction, 855-839-1210, the number to call. We're going to be right back.
Join Team Kale and Company once again this year for the Bend to Shore Bike Tour on Sunday, July 21st. From Philly to Atlantic City, you can do the ride or just donate to support the cause. Visit bendtoshore.org. That's shore.org. Let's show everyone how WPHT and Odyssey supports law enforcement. Bend to Shore is organized by Families Behind the Badge Children's Foundation. SBBCF provides financial relief for the families of fallen and injured first responders and supports the Police Youth Alliance, which fosters a positive relationship between police and youth. Sponsored by Gelman Law. Need a criminal defense attorney or personal injury? Visit GelmanLawFirm.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You know that I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games. And the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app, dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And during the summer, FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com/Dom and make the most out of your summer. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT, FanDuel official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. You have to be 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at OurRealSuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Philadelphia? We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Philadelphia for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text INVEST to 64,000. Philadelphia is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Discover the simple steps developed by Joe Arias, one of real estate's greatest rags to riches stories. You'll learn to flip properties and secure rental properties without using your own money and in your spare time. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Philadelphia and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text INVEST INVEST to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text INVEST to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text INVEST to 64,000.
Are you dealing with tax debt or unfiled tax returns and don't know how to make the problem go away? Is just the thought of dealing with the IRS giving you a panic attack? Let Legal Tax Defense take the pressure off of you. All tax relief companies are not the same, and all tax problems are complex and different. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS, the experienced tax attorneys and licensed enrolled agents can resolve the toughest cases. For over 15 years, Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating settlements for individuals and businesses just like you. All of their online ratings are A+. Even if you've received a threatening notice from the IRS, facing a wage garnishment, or have had your bank account levied, it's not too late to call Legal Tax Defense for a free, no-risk consultation. Get peace of mind and security knowing you hired the best. Call Legal Tax Defense at 800-469-1635. 800-469-1635. That's 800-469-1635.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli, afternoons 3 till 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
So we do have a lot of breaking news swirling around resignations. Locally, we're hearing about someone who's a first responder in a leadership position, I'll get to that in a moment, who reportedly has resigned amid his inappropriate comments about the assassination attempts and Trump, as well in New Jersey. This is the story of an individual from Atlantic County, New Jersey, put up an online post, and this is so unfortunate. League of Women Voters official suggesting that she wished Trump had been killed during the assassination attempt. Well, now we've confirmed this has led to her resignation after, thank goodness, for bipartisan condemnation. This is a woman identified as Victoria Druding. And Zioli had texted, thank you, Rich Zioli, Zioli may call in at any moment, so we're kind of on Zioli watch as he's there in Milwaukee on the ground, and he's helping to kick off this morning a major event with the Pennsylvania delegation. He's a speaker there, keynote speaker, as well. Zioli, you're going to hear him live and local 3 to 7 with just an incredible lineup, a lot of exclusives. You certainly want to hear Zioli this week. But if he has a moment, and he had told me that he would, just to call in to give us an update and the mood and what's happening there. So that's live from Milwaukee, our own Rich Zioli. But in this case, this Victoria Druding, she calls it dark humor. Well, it was dark humor. She had company over. They all got caught up in the moment. And she says she woke up and deleted the post. And she said it was a stupid error in judgment. It did not represent the League of Women Voters at all, she claims, and she will continue to promote the League's good work, but she felt it was the right time to resign. You think? She was pressured to resign because of her horrible comments. And I imagine that this individual had one of those signs back in the day, hate has no home here. But now she has revealed that maybe, yes, she had a yard sign that claimed hate wasn't home, or that maybe hate wasn't in her yard. You know where it was? In her heart. Shame on her. How in God's name could you wish for that? how could you say it's not? It's just in the moment. You see take away the politics. I mean, when you watch that video, and I played it at the top, and I apologize for maybe not all of you have seen it, but that raw video, and you see a shaken man, a 78-year-old man who he's a former president of the United States of America. And when you see the look on his face, you see the look of the crowd, and you see a man. And that is really something that our beautiful, just classy, first class, former First Lady Melania Trump, she encapsulates really the spirit of that moment. And she talks about that in her letter. And I'll get to that momentarily. Melania Trump putting out just an eloquent, graceful letter, talking about the moment where this monster was able to have such hate, but also addressing the fact that her husband has been dehumanized. The people and this monster did not see him as a man or a grandfather, right? And that's part of what I'm going to get into in our next hour, and why, in part, I will say that every campaign, every American, but in particular Joe Biden and his campaign in particular, Democrats in general, remember the ugly words of Maxine Waters. Remember, even during the Trump administration, I'll go back, and I know that there are others on the right who've done this, and I'm going to get into it. 855-839-1210. Quick break. We're going to be right back.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Bring on the summer heat with huge savings when you replace your old inefficient windows and doors with the great people at Guida Door and Window. Right now, Guida is offering their best discounts of the year with their big 40% off summer sales event on all expertly installed windows and doors. Have drafty windows you've been meaning to replace? Well, you receive 40% off each window you buy. That's right, 40% off all high-performance, energy-efficient triple-pane windows. In need of new doors? Well, Guida's got you covered there as well with 40% off all high-quality entry doors, patio doors, garage doors, and storm doors. Plus, you can start your project with no money out of pocket and pay it off interest-free for up to 18 full months. Don't let these incredible savings pass you by. Go Guida right now so you can take advantage of these limited time savings. All prior sales excluded. Offer expires July 31st, so call Guida today. Schedule a free in-home estimate at 1-877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
Ad paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy. and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-866-7061. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-866-7061. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-866-7061. That's 800-866-7061. Again, 800-866-7061.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Yeah, this is the fire chief from Prospect Park resigning, issuing a public apology, donating to that GoFundMe page for the wannabe assassin sniper's victim, Corey Compouture. And so my friend Christine Flowers actually posting this, applauding this fire chief from Prospect Park. She says, I applaud him for doing the right thing. And Christine Flowers is correct. He wrote the statement yesterday, Saturday, July 13th. I made a terrible mistake in posting an unprofessional post on Facebook. I sincerely apologize for my hasty social media post, which made light of a serious incident. I take full responsibility for the offensive post and acknowledge this behavior is not acceptable. And I meant no harm to anyone, and an attempted assassination on a former U.S. president is no laughing matter. He goes on to say how sorry he is. He apologizes and in no way did not want to bring, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he didn't want to bring shame to the Prospect Park Borough or the fire company into a negative light. And so he's resigned his position there. He also did, and that there are multiple posts on this now. His name is Gene Simmons. Says, I appreciate the opportunity to have served Prospect Park and thank you for your understanding. I'm especially ashamed that I made light of an event that killed a fellow former volunteer Pennsylvania fire chief, and I've donated to his family's GoFundMe, and obviously referring to Corey Compouture, who we've talked a lot about, and Allison, the victim's daughter. She has posted just a heart-wrenching letter talking about her hero dad. That GoFundMe, it's no doubt by the end of the day will exceed $3 million. I'm also learning some new details on another victim who was reported to have been in stable condition. This is an Allegheny County, Pennsylvania man. And yes, he's in stable condition, but it's a medically induced coma. He was one of those shooting victims, survived the apparent assassination attempt against former President Donald J. Trump. This is 57-year-old David Dutch of Plum. He was shot in his liver and his chest while attending Trump's rally. And so they're putting this out there, saying that he underwent one surgery initially, then survived yet another surgery yesterday. Now they have put him actually in a medically induced coma. 57-year-old man. Just horrible story. And we have another 74-year-old man, 74-year-old James Koppenhaver of Moon Township. He was also injured during the shooting. He's in stable condition. I don't have as many details on him. But as far as this 57-year-old clearly fighting for his life and trying to shut everything down, slow everything down after undergoing, I believe, I think it's at this point, 2 surgeries. That's according to the authorities that Dutch had those surgeries. So that's why you see Trump and his team continually saying that they're monitoring their conditions and asking all of us to pray for them and pray for the family of Corey Compouture. the 50-year-old. I guess he had just celebrated his 50th birthday with his wife and 2 daughters. But we have that going on. And then all of the active investigations going on. I had in our last hour reported to you the fast-moving and breaking developments happening from Florida. This is the Mar-a-Lago judge and the Mar-a-Lago documents case. That Judge Eileen Cannon, obviously, ruling in this latest ruling, as she had said that Trump's Mar-a-Lago case, the classified documents case, she is 100% overturning that. And she's the federal judge, and she has overturned this. And this is obviously consuming some of the national headlines this morning as the Trump case is overturned. And in my opinion, the beginning of the end of the persecution, prosecution that we've seen Joe Biden's, ultimately this goes to President Joe Biden, Biden's DOJ, and the weaponization of government that we saw that's shameful. And now we're seeing the reversal of that. So it's done. It's overturned, the Mar-a-Lago case. Trump swiftly, and if you follow him on Truth Social, and obviously then I always try to go to Truth Social, and then I try to post it on X, on Twitter. By the way, we haven't even touched upon Elon Musk, who essentially, just over the weekend endorsed Trump and called out all the weaponization, all that was going on, all of the coverage. And then CNN, shameful. And that's why I believe that we're seeing MSNBC, they're seeing the ratings plummet at CNN, MSNBC just booting Mika and Joe. What a slap in the face to them, saying that they feared, and the statement tells me a lot. The statement of MSNBC saying that they feared that Joe and Mika, the Morning Joe show on MSNBC, that they feared that the multiple pundits they have on, the talking heads, they feared they would say something inappropriate. Essentially that they wouldn't be able to help themselves. And so they made the call. And I wonder when. What time did that call come in? It's ridiculous to think that they feared that one of the pundits would make a statement. What they really feared was that Joe and Mika wouldn't be able to help themselves, and that the hosts of this program would be unprofessional, that they would be inappropriate, and they took them off the air. If that show is your show, it's Morning Joe, and you are removed from the airwaves, and I put on MSNBC, all they're covering now is Judge Cannon and how now they have all the legal analysts who are reporting this, that Judge Cannon in the Mar-a-Lago case has said, no, this was unconstitutional for the Biden administration to even appoint Jack Smith. And that's what the Trump team has been pushing for. And Judge Cannon ruling in the Trump team's favor and saying, after reviewing this, that this was a violation of the Constitution and an overreach. I told you about this when it broke, and that was in the last hour. But at the end of the day, MSNBC saying, no, Mika and Joe, canceling them, yanking them from the airwaves, silencing them, taking their voices and their faces off of the air. Will they return? And in what capacity? Because now what I suspect is that the ratings are going to be higher. That's really what I suspect now. You see, and they're going to look at these ratings and say, hey, you want to save off the top about a minimum 20 million, because by all estimates, they're making about 20 million a year. Joe and Mika 10 each. And how do we know that for sure? Well, because they went through a divorce, and Joe went through a divorce. Remember this? So we know at the time of his divorce, and that was a few years ago, we know that the divorce papers show he was making 10 million. It was a nasty divorce. So, if you presume then, do the math, that these high-paid divas were making in total $20 million a year. And so now you're going to look at this and say, low ratings, let's save the network $20 million a year because they've made a lot of changes over the past year. And so now this tells me they'll save the $20 million and save a lot of headaches, and they can save a lot of other jobs at their network too. Because what you are witnessing is the death of so-called mainstream media. That's what you're witnessing. And they've really done this to themselves with their nastiness, their hatred, their negative energy, and not seeing people as human beings. What do I say all the time? And I ask you this, 855-839-1210. What do I say all the time? I talk about the fact that we need to have the conversation and we need to talk to our neighbors and our family members. We need to have the conversation and listen and respect. But these shows are a part of the problem. Now, are you going to, before you call me and say, well, Dawn, what about Paul Pelosi? What about those, even on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, who said this, that, and the other when an elderly man was beaten with a hammer? I will say to you, go back and review the audio. I did not participate. I did not toke. I did not partake, nor do I. What about those on your own station who made fun of John Fetterman after he had a stroke? Do you know what I did when they had those conversations? Do you know what I did? I reached over and I pressed my mute button, and I did not speak during either of those because I did not approve. I did not approve. I did not like it at all, and I did not think it was professional or appropriate. Boom. I said it off the air. I said it with my silence. And I did view it. I viewed it with the Paul Pelosi stuff. I said, this is an elderly man, and look at how they're, reporting this. It was horrible to me. So I'm pretty consistent. And so I've just never done that. And so if, God forbid, Joe Biden, God forbid somebody had done something to him or attempted, I would have said the same thing. But I think what we're seeing is that the Democrats have lost. They've lost their momentum. They've lost their talking point, because what is the slogan? Ask anybody, what was their slogan about Trump and Republicans? MAGA. Danger to democracy. They can't say that anymore. I'll find the audio, but fairly recently, Biden was quoted as saying Trump's in the bullseye. Needs to be in the bullseye. Biden said that. Our president. I am heartened to see that both Trump and Biden shared a phone call. President Biden appropriately calling Trump, wishing him well, exchanging positive energy words. And now we're going to see Trump, and Trump has already, the Trump camp, they have confirmed this morning that Trump is rewriting that speech. Mark my words. Mark my words. He'll be Reagan-esque. He'll talk about unity. He just won this. It's done. It's done. And that's why when you saw Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro over the weekend, you know what you saw? Do you know what you saw? And we can play that audio. We played it this morning, and I know you probably heard it. He immediately put out on social media, he and Lori were praying for everyone impacted, those shot, and as well as for Trump and the Trump family, right? But what you saw over the weekend is Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, longtime Democrat, smart guy. He immediately knew what those of us who've done this for more than a minute, he knew it's over. And what you saw was Josh Shapiro beginning his 2028 run. That's what you saw. Okay? That's what I saw. He looked presidential. He sounded presidential. He said all the right, appropriate things. And I will tell you, I don't think we'll see Shapiro on a stage with Biden. I wonder if we'll see, with Bob Casey. Bob is back with the cicadas. My dear friend and one of my mentors, and Greg Stocker's another. And Stocker will remember, the bit that Zioli used to do, and Greg Stocker, where they were calling Senator Casey the cicada, because like a cicada, you don't hear from him, and then every so many years you hear from him. I believe that Senator Casey released a written statement somewhere on social media. If we can find any video or audio of Senator Casey, who's a Democrat rerunning for office, I will play it. I promise you I will. I just don't see it. I don't find it. I found a short written statement that he was saying appropriate things, but you're not going to hear from him because it's done. It's a done deal. And Trump just got reelected because it was strong. He is a warrior. He is fighting for the people. And their campaign is going, what are they going to do? What can they possibly say? I do want to get to Melania Trump. I want to get to your reaction. I want to get to all of the other developing stories of the day. Another big headline, if you're just joining me, Dawn Stensland, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, is the Trump classified documents case. It's done. It's thrown out. Violation of the Constitution of the United States of America. So we have so many of you calling. Let's get Lou in Langhorne. You say what?
Hey, Dawn.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Okay, I'm going to try to make this quick. I have a couple of points. First of all, I don't believe Mayorkas in any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry. That ship sailed 3 years ago. He could lie to your face and smile. I'm sorry. Second of all, I think that, and don't take this the wrong way, I think that all the Secret Service did a spectacular job. However, with a president that's 6'4", I think that his people who shield him with his body should be at least as tall. It's not that the ladies there didn't do a great job. I think they did a phenomenal job. But let's face it, Donald Trump, he's what, 6'3" or 6'4", correct?
Yeah.
Right? They should be tall. That's the only thing that I'm saying. It's not a matter of what they did. I just think for that. Third thing, I think that as Pope John Paul, after he got shot, he had a clear, bulletproof surround, and I think Donald Trump is still going to go out and he's still going to do the rallies. I want him to. However, I would love to see an 8 or a 10-foot surround. And I know he'll push back, but you know something? Too bad. All right.
That's right.
This can happen again. All right. And then we lived in history. What his picture with the flag behind him and his hand up was something you would see like the flag being raised in Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
Okay. And he is representative as far as strength and personality of a George Patton, a Douglas MacArthur, or a Ronald Reagan. And that's what I have to say.
Amen. Thank you, Lou. It's beautifully said. That's why I started out with that, and I wanted to let it play out for that moment. It was so powerful and poignant in our American history, just like Lou said, and I said up right off the top at 10 o'clock. That's why it's a done deal. To me, the leader is clear, and he has proven through his actions once again that he is America's leader. He is the president of peace and prosperity, calling for unity now. But that moment when he really said to his Secret Service detail, wait, and held up his fist, the blood streaming on his face, fight. And how his wife, Melania, watching that on television, you'll hear her, I'll give you her statement as well, and she echoes what that fight is all about. We have a great guest coming up in just a few moments, more developing stories. And again, I cannot emphasize strongly enough the importance of the breaking news that I announced about an hour ago, that the federal judge presiding over that Florida case, classified documents case, against former President Donald J. Trump, dismissing the prosecution, siding with defense lawyers who said that the special counsel who filed the charges was illegally appointed by Joe Biden's Justice Department. And so we're getting swift reaction, Trump's reaction, your reaction. The case had been long stalled, but understand that this case was, by all accounts, considered the strongest case that the prosecution team appointed by President Joe Biden, this is the persecution that's done too. It's over. 855-839-1210. Take a quick break. Be right back.
Dom Giordano.
Several people put up on my Twitter, you're right, I can't believe it. I'm rooting for Joe Biden. I'm rooting for Biden to stay in. And the reason why, it's smart. She's the unknown. We think we know what the reaction to her, the almost certain, but he's the known. And you've captured that. You're not going to walk back that debate. People have seen it. More and more is coming out about his cognitive decline. Just let him stay right there. It's all about winning.
It's Dom time. Dom Giordano. Weekdays noon till 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
The good and bad with home improvement projects. The good, you save a buck or two. The bad.
Kevin, there's no hot water.
So you move on to the car.
Kevin, what's with the car?
Good news, you can recover from these.
Kevin!
Well, most all of them. But when it comes to your retirement, a mistake can be devastating. Call Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. He's been helping folks prepare for retirement for over 30 years. That's why he's able to correct your do-it-yourself problems before they're problems. Get your complimentary assessment of where you are now and look at some of the retirement boxes you haven't even thought of.
Kevin!
You can't YouTube your retirement. Call Joe Yakovich at 856-925-6674 or visit jmlfinancialgroup.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Hi, everyone. Matt here from Emmons Roofing and Siding. There are a lot of companies out there that say they do roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Some good, some not so good. Be careful of those that say buy two, get two free. Does that really make sense? Think about it. At Emmons, we don't offer gimmicks, just quality products installed by our experienced craftsmen. We do offer 12-month same as cash financing, though. That's not a gimmick. That's because we know how tough it is for some people right now to get these projects done. If you need roofing, siding, or windows and doors, call us for a free estimate today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
This is a consumer alert to all U.S. taxpayers who owe the IRS back taxes or have unfiled tax returns. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, you can now take advantage of active programs that provide relief to struggling taxpayers and may reduce or eliminate what you owe if you qualify. Even if you are facing liens, levies, audits, wage garnishment, or already in a payment plan, call the Easy Tax Relief Helpline now to check what savings you may qualify for at 800-505-8196. You may qualify to reduce up to 99% of what you owe or for other special programs. Once qualified and enrolled, you can rest assured that your assets are protected and all collection efforts will be stopped. Billions of dollars in savings are available through these relief programs for struggling taxpayers, but you must call to see if you qualify. To see what savings you qualify for, call 800-505-8196. 800-505-8196. That's 800-505-8196.
Family and Company Jewelers on Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey is known for being South Jersey's diamond destination and your trusted jeweler for quality, service, and price. Choose from the largest selection of engagement rings in the area or have their master jewelers create a one-of-a-kind ring just for your special day. Visit their showroom or shop online at familyjewelers.com.
Family and Company Jewelers, South Jersey's diamond destination.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So yeah, the major breaking news story that, by the way, is all over the news is the reaction from Trump and others. As we know that Trump has given one interview so far, a print interview to the New York Post. But the case that was long stalled, and in my opinion, and all the experts have said, really did not have a chance to go to trial before the November election. But the judge's order that I've been telling you about, this is a huge legal victory for the Trump team and for Trump, as he's still recovering, by the way, from that weekend assassination attempt, preparing to accept the Republican nomination in Milwaukee this week. Sorry, a little cough there. So we have Trump praising his family this morning. We have all that reaction. But before I want to get to that quickly, and your calls, 855-839-1210, we have Melania Trump issued a beautiful statement, of course, that I wanted to get to. And as she talks about her husband, her son, from their perspective, because she's saying that she watched this, and you can't even, I just want to remind you of that. So think about, you're watching your husband, or for her teenage son, for Barron Trump, who just turned 18 not so long ago. And you think about, you're watching the statement, your dad, a rally, and all of a sudden, come here, look at this. What's happening? Oh, my God. What's happening? What's happening? And you see this. And they were watching it, apparently, in real time. I can't even imagine that. But Melania Trump delivering this just eloquent statement as she's talking about what exactly happened here. And in this, it's just a powerful, eloquent statement. She thanks U.S. Secret Service agents for protecting the former president, her husband. She offered, by the way, her sincerest sympathy to the victims who were shot. She says, while I watched the violent bullet that struck my husband, Donald, I realized my life and Barron's life were on the brink of devastating change, she writes. But she also talks about the fire chief, former fire chief, to his family, and offering, her condolences to them, criticizing the monster who attempted the assassination. But she also puts out there that her husband was labeled an inhuman political machine. And so she refers to that, a monster, recognized my husband as an inhuman political machine, attempting to wring out Donald's passion, his laughter, his ingenuity, his love of music and inspiration, the core facets of my husband's life, his human side, buried below the political machine. Donald, the generous, caring man who I have been with through the best of times and the worst of times. And calling on Americans to transcend politics, emphasizing love, compassion, kindness, empathy are the necessities. And she's writing this saying the world can return to a place that ascends the hate, the vitriol, and the simple-minded ideas that ignite the violence. She says the winds of change have arrived. For those of you who cry in support, I thank you. I commend those of you who have reached out beyond the political divide. Thank you for remembering that every single politician is a man or a woman with a loving family. She says that we are now upon the dawn of change, if you will. So beautifully and simplistically and lovingly reported. And unfortunately, many in the so-called mainstream media, they don't even have it within them to give the entire statement. But she talks about the wind of change and a new dawn in American politics, beginning with her husband, Donald J. Trump, who I believe, talk about Trump Force 47. We were at that great Chester County event. Many of you there, I know you feel the change, the winds of change, which are beautiful, classy former First Lady, and I believe she'll be the next 47th First Lady as well, no doubt, as we talk about this change in rhetoric and a new American politics rises this morning, and we will see it, no doubt, on full display at the Republican National Convention. Great guest just ahead. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about more as the Dawn Show continues. Be right back.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
We're stuck in a hot, sticky pattern. It will go to 98 today, 99, maybe 100 tomorrow. Only 96 on Wednesday, but storms should hit, allowing us to drop back into the 80s and less humidity on Wednesday.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
The federal judge overseeing Donald Trump's
Trump's classified documents case in Florida dismisses the charges, finding the special counsel unauthorized to prosecute. The Secret Service is not changing its security plan at the RNC despite Saturday's assassination attempt. And today in Philly, the final city employees return to full-time in-person work.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano for my friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz and the Bentz Dental Group. His state-of-the-art facility makes your dentistry as easy as can be. Recently, they had a permanent tooth put in. And you know how it is. In the past, you bite down, it's too high. It's always too high. The back and forth getting it just right. Well, not this time. With Dr. Bentz, it fit perfectly the first time. Call the Bentz Dental Group now, 610-272-6949. Visit BentzDentalGroup.com, 610-272-6949.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Don't miss Borgata's $1.5 million Summer Showdown. Now through August 31st, 1,500 winners will earn a share of $1.5 million. Plus, 2 lucky players will win a 2024 Ford Bronco or Jeep Rubicon. Earn entries for drawings held every Saturday, including 2 grand prize drawings on July 27th and August 31st. The $1.5 million Summer Showdown, only at Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Must be 21 or older. Players must be present to win. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
There's so much breaking, so much developing right now. Groups of Republicans and apparently some Democrats pointing to the fact that days before the assassination attempt of Trump, Joe Biden, on a call to donors, to campaign donors, said, quote, "It's time to put Trump in the bullseye." And they're pointing out, here was, Trump was really, this was the J6 community and committee. The J6 committee had said about Trump, well, hey, he incited a resurrection when he said, go march peacefully, whatever. And so he was, in fact, deeply criticized for that, persecuted, prosecuted, all the J6 situation. And they're saying, here's a current president saying, put his political opponent and a former president, quote unquote, in the bullseye days before an assassination attempt, asking for some kind of clarification and consistency. So now NBC News is reporting as well, there's an appeal expected after the Trump classified documents dismissal decision. So they're expecting an appeal. How soon does that happen? But even if Biden's DOJ tries to appeal this and put back Jack Smith, it's a done deal. It's all done. That's done. It's over. And I think J6 will we can start thinking about when those J6ers are going to be, those convictions being overturned as far as those nonviolent offenders. This is all unraveling. All of it is unraveling. The cases against Trump, all of it. You can disagree, but that's just how I feel. 855-839-1210. Former President Donald J. Trump reacting to all of this, praising the judge, his appointee, yes, federal judge Eileen Cannon in Mar-a-Lago there, as the situation is underway. Obviously, major developments at the Republican National Convention. The theme was supposed to be Make America Wealthy Again, MAWA. But we've now heard that although they have these themes, today will be on the economics of things. The truth is that Trump and his team have confirmed that he is rewriting that speech and will have a call for unity. And as I've been saying all morning, expect him to look Reagan-esque, taking a chapter from Reagan. After all, make America great again. Who coined that term? It was Reagan. And Trump, of course, remembers Reagan, his popularity, but is inspired by him. Is our next guest here? I know that Jennifer Stefano will be calling in any moment, and she is somebody who you well know, a local mom, conservative, somebody who is a contributing in Philadelphia Inquirer columnist who speaks often on these topics, who's touched like you are touched, like I am. I also think it's amazing how some of the headlines say the motive was unclear. The motive was, and some headlines literally refuse to call this an assassination attempt. In the main, now most have, to their credit, because I think they realize that they're doomed, and they've, the widespread and bipartisan criticism. But I just can't believe that still some of those media outlets, after CNN had called it a Trump fall, which is absurd that is even happening. We also are waiting and wondering about the Trump Veep picks, and they're all reacting to the assassination attempt, right? As they're talking about the fact that Trump, a true leader, praising him. President Joe Biden speaking out 3 times over the weekend. You've heard that. And here in Pennsylvania, I know that our own Dave McCormick, who you've heard me interview, the Dom Show, Rich Zioli. I mean, we've all interviewed Dave McCormick, who's the Republican senatorial candidate against Senator Democrat Casey. He was there. He was right there. In fact, Trump was going to introduce him any second, so he was right there. But let's hear from, can we play Governor Josh Shapiro? This is making the rounds nationally. Here's Shapiro speaking out about this over the weekend.
It's also important to note that last night, 3 of our fellow Pennsylvanians were shot, 1 fatally, 2 in critical condition. I've just spent time speaking to the families, and I want to offer my prayers and the prayers of all 13 million Pennsylvanians for the 2 individuals who are being treated at this time. We lost a fellow Pennsylvanian last night, Corey Comparator. I just spoke to Corey's wife and Corey's 2 daughters. Corey was a girl dad. Corey was a firefighter. Corey went to church every Sunday. Corey loved his community. And most especially, Corey loved his family. Corey was an avid supporter of the former president and was so excited to be there last night with him in the community. I asked Corey's wife if it would be okay for me to share that we spoke. She said yes. She also asked that I share with all of you that Corey died a hero, that Corey dove on his family to protect them last night at this rally. Corey was the very best of us. May his memory be a blessing.
And so it was, by all accounts, classy as he was acknowledging that Corey, our fire chief here in Pennsylvania, who died a hero to save his wife and daughters, but acknowledging that he was a huge fan of Trump, was thrilled to see him. And that's what I'm talking about, the spirit here. This is somebody who's going to run for president in 4 years in 2028. That's what you saw. And so some of the headlines just getting ripped by Elon Musk and others. MAGA responds with outrage after Donald Trump injured at Pennsylvania rally. That's an actual headline. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after popping noises heard at his Pennsylvania rally. Unbelievable. Trump escorted away after loud noises at PA rally. Here's another one. Donald Trump escorted off stage by Secret Service during rally after loud noises ring out in crowd. I mean, this is unbelievable and irresponsible. And some of these broadcasts, some of them print, just not acceptable. But we do have the reaction from DJT himself that he is absolutely thrilled to learn that a federal judge in Florida has just dismissed the toughest case against him, that so-called documents case in Mar-a-Lago, the classified documents case. So he's thrilled about it. Also, we're hearing from his children, his family, and supporters. So we'll get to all of it, and we continue live and local all day. You don't want to miss a minute. So much happening. But, as I think about the summer escape, and that's just it. This weekend, oh my goodness, as we were thinking about this, maybe you were on your summer road trip. Maybe you were trying to get away. Do you know that your vehicle is road trip ready before you head out for your summer road trip? I just want to remind you, my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, they're always going to help make sure you and your family are safe on the roads this summer. The service centers of the Piazza Premium dealers not only handle all your regular maintenance needs, but they're certainly going to diagnose possible issues before they can occur. So schedule your service appointment online today, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com, Piazza, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. For that dealer nearest you, make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Join Team Kale and Company once again this year for the Bend to Shore Bike Tour on Sunday, July 21st. From Philly to Atlantic City, you can do the ride or just donate to support the cause. Visit bendtoshore.org. That's shore.org. Let's show everyone how WPHT and Odyssey supports law enforcement. Bend to Shore is organized by Families Behind the Badge Children's Foundation. SBBCF provides financial relief for the families of fallen and injured first responders and supports the Police Youth Alliance, which fosters a positive relationship between police and youth. Sponsored by Gelman Law. Need a criminal defense attorney or personal injury? Visit GelmanLawFirm.com.
Crash Proof Retirement records all financial meetings. All promises made in recorded financial meetings become legally binding between Crash Proof Retirement and the investing client. Crash Proof Retirement provides all of their clients with a certificate of authenticity, further documenting that recording financial meetings brings fiduciary responsibility to the highest level.
I'm Jack Gunning from Bluebell, Pennsylvania. I don't know whether anybody can offer you the security that Crash Proof Retirement does. I have a certificate that tells me they're a fiduciary, everything is recorded, and they have your best interest at heart. That certificate is 100% documentation that you know what they're saying is 100% correct. Other companies don't have this guarantee. This certificate means an awful lot for me, and it should mean an awful lot for you.
Certify your retirement future. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Downingtown Country Club, July 23rd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Ad paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number. 800-866-7061. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-866-7061. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-866-7061. That's 800-866-7061. Again, 800-866-7061.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Philadelphia? We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Philadelphia for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text INVEST to 64,000. Philadelphia is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Discover the simple steps developed by Joe Arias, one of real estate's greatest rags to riches stories. You'll learn to flip properties and secure rental properties without using your own money and in your spare time. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Philadelphia and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text INVEST to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text INVEST to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text INVEST to 64,000.
Hi, it's John Ashdale, the Car Czar from Colonial Hyundai. Summer's racing by, and while we wish it didn't go so fast, we're speeding things up here at Colonial. We're nearing the finish line of our construction, and Hyundai has challenged us to sell every vehicle in stock before the grand opening. That's 200 vehicles gone by July 31st. To do so, we're offering up to 20% off any new Hyundai in stock every day of July. Also, we're offering the highest trade-in values in the region, even giving you $6,500 for your trade, no matter the condition. Guaranteed. It's the race to 200 cars at Colonial Hyundai, and during this event, we're willing to do whatever it takes to reach the finish line of selling every vehicle in stock. We even have financing as low as 0% for 60 months available. Every new vehicle at Colonial Hyundai comes with America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain, and Hyundai Assurance. Don't get left. Be part of the team as we race to 200 cars sold and save big. Shop us online 24/7 at colonialhyundai.com or visit us on Route 30 in Downtown. Colonial Hyundai, the faster, easier, better way to buy a Hyundai.
Up to 20% off dealer listed price includes all rebates and incentives. Offer cannot be combined. Offer ends 8/3. See dealer for more details.
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Will former President Donald J. Trump announce his vice presidential pick today? That's what we're hearing. And Trump speaking out to the New York Post as just in a print column, but saying he's supposed to be dead. Talked about those moments when the doctor at the hospital said he'd never seen anything like it, calling it a miracle. And Trump talked about the fact, he said, I'm supposed to be dead. I'm not supposed to be here. And refers to his Secret Service agents when they were leading him off stage. And then at that point, knocked his shoes off. But thanking everyone, praising Secret Service. That's one of the headlines this morning as so much is developing. Let's get to my friend Jennifer Stefano, who you know well. I've interviewed Jennifer many, many times. In fact, we worked together at CBS News locally, CBS 3 here back in the day. Jennifer, obviously a contributor and contributing columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Good morning, and your take as you look at the weekend and what you see happening, Jen.
It was divine intervention that President Trump wasn't killed. It just was a catastrophic event, even though he survived it. And certainly the loss of just innocent bystanders, it's very, very heartbreaking. And I think I want to see the media hold accountable the Democrats for their language. I mean, Dawn, they have spent the better part of this decade demonizing Donald Trump, demonizing Donald Trump supporters for every word that comes out of either the former president or his supporters' mouths, right?
Yes.
Just that were hateful, that were, everything. Well, how about we start talking about what words came out of their mouth and whether they are complicit and what happened? And I'm doing this because it seems to me, I don't believe words are actual violence. I think that is a ridiculous notion. Words are words. Violence is violence. But I do think the Democrats need to take some responsibility here, and I appreciate their calls for unity. I'd like them to show me what that looks like. I'd like them to show me that they've been humbled somewhat.
Yeah. Well, what's your reaction to Mika and Joe being pulled off the air at MSNBC? That one is very telling, in my humble opinion, that they just said, we're just going to go with all the breaking news. And they're covering it much like they used to be back in the day, just covering, experts and talking moment by moment. But I don't see Mika and Joe. I've been monitoring all the different stations, as we all do. To my knowledge, they were supposed to be on the air this morning, and they are not.
It's surprising if what the reports are saying is true, that MSNBC is concerned not just about Mika and Joe, but all the other cast of characters. It just goes to show that this is a deep-seated emotional hatred of Donald Trump, Dawn. It's not just I disagree on policy issues or I'm concerned about the future of America. There is a visceral reaction on the left to this man. And maybe, look, I don't know what's happening at MSNBC, other than it's often not particularly factual. But I do think, Dawn, that and you've seen it, you've talked about it. Yes. There is a hate deep within them, a burning hatred of this man that just is beyond rational. You saw last night the entertainer, the actor, Jack Black, his band, saying horrible things, saying that they wished for their birthday that the shot hadn't missed Donald Trump. I mean, it's really disgusting.
And it's I know that the media, when we always talk about motive and motivation, whether it's a local shooting in Philadelphia or in particular something like this, it seems weird when they say no motive has been given for the assassination attempt on Trump. I will say this, Jen, that I know what they mean. It's just a weird wording, and it strikes people as odd because obviously the motive, it's the motive to take out former President Donald J. Trump to stop him from becoming president.
That's right.
Right? I mean, the motive is to murder
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right. It's not we can go into a deep discussion. I think people rarely care about what he was registered and what he believed because it can absolve them. Right. So for Republicans, if he was a crazy left winger, and he did apparently donate to a George Soros funded group, then we can be absolved. Or if he was a Republican and he was a conservative, then the Democrats think they're absolved. To which I say, none of us are absolved. We've all contributed. The media has certainly harangued Republicans and people on the right far more than they ever would dream of doing to the left. And my point is, you have to now start addressing this. You have to now start holding them accountable.
Yeah.
But you are totally correct. There was one motive. It's very clear what it was: to assassinate Donald Trump and ensure he didn't become the president of the United States. And then the next question is, well, why would someone want to do that? Well, let's create some hypotheticals. Why? Because you created him as the biggest, greatest existential threat to your life, your liberty, and democracy throughout the world. Well, gee, could someone take that as like it's me or him? I'm going to do something great for my country. I mean, we have to think about that, Dawn.
Yes,
we do.
Jennifer Stefano, we're up against it. Got to pitch to the Dom show soon. Thank you so much, my friend. Until next time, I want to get to Bill Maher sharing a clip from his show on social media, getting blasted by some, supported by others, although he does start out by saying, I unequivocally denounce the shooting. And I don't know that he says assassination attempt off the top, but he says, I don't care what you think about that. He says, not funny. I'm sure that there will be jokes that people will make because they hate him so much and that they wish it went the other way. Not for me, says Bill Maher. He continues that when he saw the photo of Trump with that blood streaming down his face, he essentially is saying that he doesn't want to say the words, the election's over, but and points out that Trump supporters, talking about the Trump supporters and saying that he gets grazed and the other guy gets killed. That's so Trump. Quote, I'm going to work for him. I can see the memes now. The man, I can't even repeat some of the language, but he couldn't get killed. That's what some of the liberals are going to say. And he says it doesn't matter who the Democrats put up now. It's pretty much, by all accounts, what Bill Maher is saying here in a crass way. He's saying it's over. And at that point, though, he assumed the shooter was liberal. We have no idea about the shooter who clearly wanted to take out the former president and future president. But Bill Maher saying how Trump is the luckiest guy, etc. So many in the media, and I know that was crass, and I can't even repeat all the things that he says with his language. But I think by all accounts, people who have watched this feel it's a done deal, and they've stopped calling for Joe Biden to resign because they've resigned. So that's the latest. As we look forward to the RNC and certainly Rich Zeoli live there in Milwaukee, and he's having an incredibly busy last night and now this morning. So I can't wait to hear the Dom show upcoming. And then Rich, oh my goodness, he has so much in store for us. Good morning, Dom. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was tossing to Dom. Dom Giordano, you'll hear from Dom. And wow, so much in store. The Dom show starts now.